Wonderist. Yes, I want to make a video on this, and I'm going to do it in reference to your comment, but I was going to do this anyway as an error about skepticism that people often get, and I just don't really understand. It's this error where we say that skepticism is some form of a nihilism, and the argument tends to go like this: the skeptic says nothing is absolute, and the dogmatist says, oh, well, that's absolute. And the skeptic says, well, no, that's not absolute either, that statement. Oh, no, you've refuted yourself. Similar, the skeptic says, well, skepticism is valid. Therefore you believe skepticism is valid. Therefore, look, something is true, skepticism. But it's relatively true. We do not say that it's absolute. There is no contradiction there because skeptics are not saying that it's absolutely true. Skepticism. I have been telling you how skepticism has its error bars. It's not absolutely true. It can be questioned. It should be questioned. All ideas should be questioned. And again, it seems confusing though because people think, oh, you're playing a game. You think skepticism is true, but you're just going to. No, I actually have told the actual ways in which skepticism has error and is incomplete. And the incompleteness is an important part. We don't know the definition of the word skeptic, right? I use the analogy of relativism. Let's say I was a relativist, 200 years ago. I might know about Galilean relativity and think, hey, I'm a relativist. I had no idea that time was relative. I did not know relativism as completely as it's known now, and we don't know relativism now as completely as it'll be known in the future. So when I say skepticism is valid, the problem is I don't have full definitions of skepticism or is or valid. Those are still subject to adjustment, and they'll need adjustment. And those definitions are not perfect, and we would need to have perfect definitions if we wanted to say it was absolutely true, right? It'd have to be absolutely clear what we were fucking saying. Okay, so that's the issue of these error bars too, because people think that like, well, I can say I exist, and that's certain. Yeah, but the error bars are what? Infinite. I exist. You can't say anything less about something than it exists. Like, what's its color? What are all the things you left out? Those put huge error bars. What does exist mean? Ultimately, you have the same issue. What does exist mean? You're not done defining existence. When you say that something exists, you don't know what that means. It's not a complete statement, right? Now, you said that skepticism, if you just keep doing this why, you get down to nothing. Well, Descartes didn't. He got down to I think, therefore I am. And if you try it, you won't get down to nothing. That is false induction. Okay, you think that, well, look, we keep getting down into anything and anything. And in the realm of ideas, which is a different thing, you can always decompose an idea. But you always decompose things into their transform. Suddenly it's not a decomposition, but a transform. You can always transform one idea into another. When you decompose it into its ontology, you will get down eventually to perceptions. Oh, and you want to decompose the perceptions? What do they decompose into? Other perceptions. So skeptics get down to perceptions. And that's what Pyrrho, the original Pyrrho of Elis, claimed, that we're down to perceptions. We're going by perceptions. Because even though you might not get a skeptic to say they believe in their perceptions, they do assent to them. They act as though they're going on their perceptions. Oh, they don't believe them. Fine, but they are acting on them. Okay, so they've assented to them. All right, in some sense, they've assented to them, and they're using them, and they're going by appearances, and that's what you get to. Excuse me, at the bottom of skepticism is, you know, perceptions, and that we are manipulating the perceptions, and that's why skepticism, in a modern sense, should be thought of as a cognitive philosophy about us thinking about perceptions. It's information processing, where the information is perception. We take perceptions, we process them, and the process produces a perception, like a memory. We take a perception, produce a memory, the memory later on produces a perception again. Okay, cheers.